Today we are going to review adjectives. To do so, I have written down 5 sentences that contain nouns and adjectives describing the nouns, just like we talked about yesterday. The first sentence says, "The popcorn at the movie theater is crunchy, buttery, and delicious." So first, to start, we will look for our nouns. The nouns in this sentence are popcorn and theater. I've been having some trouble highlighting those, but I will try to do so now. Okay, so popcorn. Popcorn is one noun, and then theater is another. All right, so then now that we've found our nouns, we want to find adjectives describing our nouns. There are no adjectives before the word popcorn, so that means the adjectives must come later in the sentence. So the popcorn at the movie theater is crunchy, buttery, and delicious. Is the theater crunchy, buttery, and delicious? No, so that must be about the popcorn, right? So I'll pick another color. Let's go green and say the popcorn at the movie theater is crunchy, buttery, and delicious. And then we look at our other noun, theater, and what kind of theater is it? Well, it's a movie theater. So movie is the adjective describing theater. For number 2, we have Mrs. Gill's favorite flowers are pink carnations. I'll switch back to my blue highlighter and we'll find all of our nouns in that sentence. So Mrs. Gill is a noun. Flowers are a noun because they are a thing. And then carnations are the name of the flower. So carnations is also a noun. So we have Mrs. Gill, flowers, and carnations. And now we're going to look for adjectives. So there's nothing describing Mrs. Gill in this sentence, so there are no adjectives for Mrs. Gill. Now we look at flowers. Mrs. Gill's favorite flowers. So what kind of flowers? Well, they're my favorite. So I'll switch to my green highlighter. And favorite is an adjective describing flowers. And then we have carnations as our last noun. And what color are they? They're pink. That's what kind of carnations they are. So that's an adjective as well. Mrs. Gill's favorite flowers are pink carnations. Number 3 says the bright morning sun was yellow. So now we look for the nouns and we have sun. Sun is our noun. The bright morning sun was yellow. The adjectives describing sun are bright, morning, and yellow. So we see there that adjectives can come before and after the noun. The bright morning sun was yellow. Number 4 says Mrs. Gross's students are smart, kind, and funny. So we look for the nouns in that sentence, and they are Mrs. Gross, Mrs. Gross's students, and that'll be it. Mrs. Gross and her students are the nouns. And then we look for adjectives. So to describe Mrs. Gross's students, we say they are smart, kind, and funny. And those are all adjectives describing you guys, Mrs. Gross's students. So again, Mrs. Gross's students are smart, kind, and funny, and smart, kind, and funny are all the words used to describe Mrs. Gross's class. Number 5 says 10 awkward, tall giraffes are tan and brown. So now we're going to look for our nouns. We have giraffes, and that's the only noun that we're describing in this sentence. Then we look for adjectives. So we have 10 giraffes. That tells us how many, so that's an adjective. We have the word awkward. That describes how they behave, so it's also an adjective. Now I say that they are tall giraffes. That tells us what kind of giraffes they are. They're tall giraffes. And then we have what colors they are. They are tan and they are brown. So this sentence actually has 5 different adjectives. There are 10 of them. They're awkward, they're tall, tan, and brown. So that will be the completion of our guided practice together, and that just shows you how to identify nouns in the sentence and then how to identify the adjectives that go with those nouns.